Okay, so Payroll Project. The Payroll Project for Accounting 6 is going to take you a little bit of time, but it's in lieu of a final. You don't have a final for this class. You have this. On Blackboard, I will put the assignment up there. There's a Excel file attached. Go download it, save it on your hard drive, and immediately name it with your name in the title. Remember the rules for the class. Get your name in there. Remember this. The Payroll Project is designed to be your opportunity to show me all the cool things you've learned in this class. So, figure out how to highlight some of the cool things that you've learned. Formulas, tricks, whether you want to use sliders or other input forms. You want to have good format for the user. You want to have directions. You want to have your input cells protected, or the rest of it protected and your input cells open. You want to color code things. You want to have a final report output. Okay? How many of you remember the payroll chapter from Accounting 151? Okay. For those of you who haven't taken it, it's chapter 10 in the same book that you've got in front of you. Okay? And I've used everything exactly out of the book. So they have payroll register in there. I'm using the same headers and all the same concepts. Okay? Everybody good with that? And if for some reason you don't remember or you need help with it, come see me. Next week we're going to go over the homework for chapter 23 and 25. After that, bring your laptop, bring your questions for this, because I am here as a resource. You actually are going to get time to sit here in class and work on this and ask me questions as you go. So that next week and the following week. So we're going to get a couple of weeks of here in class time to work on this. You will need more time than that to do it. I promise you. So work on it at home, come to class prepared with your list of questions, and we'll do it. After that, I'm allocating 2 weeks to present these in class. So you won't have to study for your final exam. You all get to walk in and present this. You're going to get 10 or 12 minutes each to present. So it's not a great big long, oh, I did this, and then it flows here. Hit the highlights, show us all the cool things that you've learned in class. Good? Not a huge ordeal where it's some big presentation. It's just like going over the homework like we've been doing every week in class. Good? Okay? And we'll go through them and, critique them together, and I think it's a great opportunity for everyone else to see all the cool things you can do, because you will each do it differently, more than likely. Right? I'm going to give you a blank spreadsheet and say go crazy, but here's the concept. So you'll each end up doing it differently, and you'll have different solutions, and it's a very cool thing. So here's what I've done. The objective is pretty much what I just said. The project is you've been hired by this company to create a spreadsheet that will calculate payroll for multiple periods, not just for 1 week. I think I give you 4 weeks worth of stuff. Good? You can just leave it there. I'm going to kind of drive here for a minute. Here we go. Your task. And there's several steps. Create a payroll register for each of the periods that automatically calculates the payroll. Totals and proves its balance. Okay? You're going to get things like regular time, overtime, hourly wages, salary wages, piece rate. All those are thrown into this. So it's going to need to make decisions and calculate the payroll any of those ways, depending on how that employee normally gets paid. Okay? Does everyone remember the factors involved in payroll? There's gross wages, and then there's deductions. And a lot of the deductions are, like the federal and state income tax, are dependent upon if you're single or married and how many dependents you claim. So I'm going to give you some data for the employees that will tell you if they're single and if they're married, and how many dependents they claim. Employees will be paid different ways. Some employees will get paid every week. So if you're calculating payroll for a whole month, you'll have 4 payroll registers. Some employees will only get paid monthly. Their name will only appear on 1 of the payroll registers. Good? Some get paid every 2 weeks, so their name will appear on 2 of the 4 payroll registers. Pretty straightforward? Okay. Marital status, number of allowances. We talked about cumulative earnings. Some of the deductions, like Social Security tax, if you earn over a certain amount, they stop withholding the tax from you. Okay? If anybody doesn't remember this, again, Chapter 10 is great. I also have, for my 151A class on YouTube, there's a Chapter 10 video. Go watch a Chapter 10 video. Okay? Or come ask me in class. Any of the above is fine. All right. So the payroll register's got to calculate automatically. Got to calculate Social Security, Medicare, SDI, FUTA, federal income tax, state income tax, and calculate net paychecks. Good? The other thing you're going to do is calculate the employer taxes, right? So we have the taxes that are withheld from the employee, but employers match some of the taxes and pay other taxes themselves, right? So the Social Security and the Medicare, the employer matches. You're going to calculate the employer's taxes as well. Good? I'm using my mouse against my shirt. Nice. I can do this. You're going to calculate an individual earnings record for each employee. This is where you track their earnings every pay period and you come up with the totals at the end of the year that goes on their W-2. You don't have to do the W-2, but you need to calculate or create an earnings record for each employee and have it automatically populate the data from each of the payroll registers. Good? Okay. All right, I got to drive up here. Okay. So, the other thing is you will end up having to create a, in the employee earnings record, you're going to have all of their data there, their name, their Social Security number, the number of allowances. You're going to be pulling data from there into the payroll registers to calculate the withholding and things like that, right? Okay. So here's a list of some of the things that we've gone over in class. Named ranges, cell formatting, conditional formatting, fixed cell references, some if. There's a special video just on the horizontal and vertical lookup. If you haven't seen it yet, look. You will need to be able to do these to do the lookup of the tax rates. I'll show you that in a minute. And again, I'm here as a reference. I will be more than happy to sit down, go over it with you, and help you and walk through it with you. Okay, so we're kind of in this together for the next couple of weeks. Make sure you have clearly marked input area. Entirely automated is the key here. No hard coding. All formulas pulling data from the appropriate places. Use rounding where necessary. Test for wage limit on the withholding calculations. Cell protection where necessary. Document. Give instructions for somebody else to use it other than you. Remember, the assignment is you were hired to create it. Someone else is going to do it. Okay? So you're going to have to leave them instructions. Any other elements you feel are necessary. So go for it. Good? Clear so far? Okay. I give you the tax rates, the Social Security rates, the wage limits. Okay? Social Security, Medicare, FUTA, SUTA, SDI, employment training tax. All those things are there. Federal and state income tax. Down at the bottom down here, I give you a whole bunch of federal and state tax tables. So federal single weekly, There's the mouse. Here's one of the tax tables. This is for federal income tax. If you're a single person that's paid weekly, you use this table. If you're a single person that gets paid monthly, you don't use this table, right? Just as a refresher, let's assume this is the right table. You're single, you get paid weekly. How this works is you come down the first column. Your wages must be at least, let's say you earned $101. So you come down until you find the at least. Did you earn at least $100? Yes. Did you earn at least 105? No, because it's 101. So between 100 and 105, you go across this line until you hit the number of withholding allowances you claim, and that's the amount you withhold from your check. So if this guy earned $101 and had 0 allowances, how much gets withheld from his check? $6, right? That's what the V&H lookup is going to find for you. So there is a federal single weekly, federal married weekly, California single weekly, California married, federal single, federal month, married monthly, California single monthly. Okay, so there's several of these tables.
So rather than, this is what we call in payroll, the lookup method instead of the calculation method.
Correct.
Calculation method also has, you can do horizontal vertical lookup stuff, but you want us to do it the lookup method.
I want you to use the lookup, okay? The calculation method, you would need the formula to calculate the income tax withholding. I haven't given you that. I don't expect you to go find it on your own. Okay? We will spend some time next week playing with the federal, or not federal, with the VLOOKUP, so I'll help you through this. Okay? It's actually pretty straightforward. And with that great big number of tables, it could become a very large formula, but I'm going to show you some shortcuts. Okay? So I'm not totally dumping this on you. This is my opportunity to teach you something new and very cool. Also, okay? I just need you to go back and be able to implement it. Good? Cool. Okay, so the state and federal income taxes are on the tabs at the bottom. Hello? Let's see. Okay, here's your employees and where they all live. And so I've got employee address, pay rate, how often they get paid, single, married, number of allowances is out here. This is all the data that goes on their employee card. Good? Okay. Here's their year-to-date earnings. So you can figure out the wage floor. Social Security wages, Medicare, all of that. Federal tax withheld, Social Security withheld. All those things you need for beginning balances that you start adding to. It's all here. If you feel at any time while working on this project that you need to go look somewhere else, stop, because you don't. Okay? Ask me first. Then I have, here we go, timesheet. For the first week is the week ended September 9, the week ended September 16. Here's how many hours they worked on each of the days. Some of the individuals get paid piece rate, and so this guy here gets paid piece rate. Here's how many units he manufactured. So you'll calculate based on the number of units times his pay rate from up above. Here's the guy who gets paid commission. Here's what his sales were. Okay? So you've got hourly employees, you've got salaried employees, you've got commission and piece rate. Good? Yeah. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 time cards. Good? Questions so far?
What would you suggest we work on first?
Let's go there next. Okay. Here's my diagram for this. Okay? This is just data. I just threw this data together to show you how it all flows. Don't grab this and try and use it as data. Don't grab this and try and make your data fit into the template I've laid out here, because it's not a template. This is exactly what's in Chapter 10 in the book. It has no space in here for piece rate or commission, so you'll have a problem. So it's cool to look at, and it gives you a concept, but don't use it as data. Got it? Okay. Don't use it. I want you to use it. Look at it and refer to it, but don't use it as data. So here's the big picture on this. I'm going to make this a little smaller real quick. Kind of small. Okay. So you're going to start with the individual earnings record. Okay? This has all of the information on the employee: name, address, pay rate, social security number, number of allowances. So you're going to have one somewhere. And you can put these all on individual tabs at the bottom too. Okay? So don't feel that all this has to go on one tab, because it'll be a great big spreadsheet. If you put all of your earnings cards on one tab and all of your payroll registers on one tab, or something like that, do what works for you. This is very much a free-form project. So from your earnings card, you will pull certain data: pay rate, pay frequency, number of allowances, and you'll populate your payroll register with it. Okay? And the payroll register you'll come across, and you'll pull other data like year-to-date earnings and things like that. Then you're going to have your time card, which I showed you a minute ago. You pull the number of hours from that in, and you plug it in here. And from there, you can start to calculate payroll. To do that, you need the tax rates that I showed you a minute ago, and the federal and state tax tables. So data is going to pull from that to help you populate the deductions. And then the wages that you calculate for the employee, the deductions, and the net check is going to come down and populate the next line in your individual earnings card. So you're going through this cycle 4 times. Right? Everybody good at this? Does the visual help? Because I did that last night. I thought it was better than just describing it, right? Okay? And all those instructions and this visual are going to be there in that file when you download them off of Blackboard. Good? Questions? Okay. Right about now, you're all thinking, oh crap. Okay? It is not as bad as you think. Will it take some time? Yes. I've had students do it in 4 hours. I've had students create some killer and unbelievable stuff and tell me, oh, I spent 40 hours on it. You don't have to spend that much time on it. Okay? Do what you have time for. But remember, this is your chance to show off. You're going to walk in and say, this is what I learned. This is cool. And this replaces your final exam. Again, remember, you're going to have, let me look real quick. Next week in class to work on it, and the following week in class to work on it. So the first of you will be presenting it 3 weeks from tonight. 3 weeks to work on this.
So it's 11 and 18?
So the 11th and the 18th. Okay?
And at this time, they'll sometimes find...
No, final is same time, same room. You get 10, 12 minutes. If you want 15, maybe we'll stretch it to come through and present. It usually goes pretty quick. Everybody's pretty excited to see what other people did. Okay? So you got lots of time to work on this. Now, so this isn't as bad as you're thinking right now, and you'll feel better about it once you start working on it. Here's the one jerky thing I do. The last 2 weeks of class, I take attendance. Because I want everybody to see what everybody else did, and I want you to be here to help me critique everybody's work. Okay? Good? Fair enough. I don't take attendance all semester except for the last 2 classes. Good? All right. Questions, answers? You may turn.
We should go bring in snacks and stuff.